When the U.S. came here, they forbid our language. So our great-grandparents, every time they would speak their native language, they would be punished for it.
Hafadea Mha'ani.
Hafadea Maizia.
Hi, I am Shiloh.
Guahusi Inina.
Hafadea Inina Guahusi Melvin. I'm the Executive Director of the Commission on Decolonization. You know what we're going to talk about today?
Decolonization.
Yeah, that's a good guess. What do you know about colonization?
It's when a bigger country comes and finds another land and they take ownership over it.
It's when another nation moves into a place or they take control over it.
When someone with more power takes over someone with less power.
Colonization is when the large country finds another place that they're interested in. The larger country will come into this place and set up shop. And while they're there, they take advantage of what this new place has to offer and allow that resource to benefit the larger country. How do you think colonization has affected your elders, like your grandparents?
When the Americans came to Guam, they bought a lot of people's land or just took it and gave them almost nothing for sacred land. It affects them in the way that they're losing their home. They're losing places that they've lived for their whole lives.
They weren't granted citizenship until the 1950s, and they weren't able to vote until the 1960s. They were also punished in Navy and Western schooling when they spoke chamoru.
When the U.S. came here, they forbid our language. So our great-grandparents, every time they would speak their native language, they would be punished for it.
Right. I think that's a great thing to know. There was a period where you could only speak English in public places. You can research old photos of public places in Guam with signs that say English only. When a place is colonized, it's not just the place, but also the people. If I come into your place and you're forbidden from speaking your language, and your language is not valued, but speaking my language is, then it creates this pressure on you to value mine more than yours. If colonization has impacted your parents or your grandparents or your elders in this way, does it also affect you?
I would say yes, because the trauma that they went through, they wouldn't want their future generation to be punished for them speaking their native language, so they think it's better for them to speak English so that they wouldn't have to go through what they did.
We don't learn our language. By not knowing your language, sometimes it's often hard to talk to your elders, and they're the ones with the most knowledge, and they can tell you so many stories, but sometimes, since chamoru was their first language, they're not able to communicate that to you, and their stories are really valuable.
From our grandparents, it's land and there's a lot of history to it. When they're trying to spread their wisdom, it doesn't give the same impact as if you were sitting on the land.
There's certain places where you can't go on the island because the U.S. built their bases and took over.
That land was previously occupied by people. They lived there, they grew their food there.
Now they don't have homes, or they had to relocate.
We know that colonization is when one country comes in and kind of takes over another country, right?
Yeah.
What then is decolonization?
Decolonization is having control of our island's future and having a say in what goes on, like, I guess you could say, at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just being
Absolutely.
able to decide what's best for us.
Most people who know what decolonization is, they just want a voice to be heard.
When the original country pushes out the country attempted to take over.
It's not necessarily just that. Sometimes it could mean that we have a better relationship with that country, or that we're now being treated fairly. But I think that decolonization is much bigger than just political status. I think that that's a part of it. But earlier we talked about, the effects of colonization on language, on history, on identity. Decolonization really is about us being empowered, right? We have to relearn, in some ways, what is important to us, to see ourselves in a positive light. Taking it on yourself to learn your language, you learning our history so that you understand why we're in this situation and how we got here. It can be learning how to throw a talaza, learning from a surahanu, a surahana. These are all things that take us back to our cultural values. But taking ourselves back to our cultural values doesn't mean that we have to abandon the modern world. Who's to say that you can't have a cell phone and speak chamoru and throw a talaza and grow food for your family?
No one.
Yeah, why not, right? Why can't we do it all? Why do you think it's important for us to decolonize?
I want freedom for everyone. I want freedom for my people, and I want everyone to have a choice, have a say in how we live.
It's not like you want anyone who stole from you to just come back and like be a part of your family, because then it just makes them think that they could do it again or again.
Because if we don't decolonize and we just keep living like how it is right now, then eventually our language, our history, it's gonna die out.
The Texan is a very important and sacred cultural place for us. And the military has plans to build this massive firing range. There was a huge community action, and even the governor had asked that they stop the construction immediately and treat our cultural artifacts with respect. She was just outright denied. And not denied by, by Congress or the president, by some officer in the military.
Thank you so much for helping the community work towards decolonization. And yeah, thank you for all the work you do.
Hagulokwi, honey, I appreciate it. And I appreciate this conversation.
I feel like we all need someone to talk to when it comes to stuff like this, especially to help each other on where we stand and what, and the best way to understand what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation to have. Anyways, it was nice talking to you, Shiloh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just Ma'asi.
Hagulokwi, Izzy, it's nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too.
All right, tell your Nino I said what's up.
Yay,
Good job, man. Very good job.
For more content like this, subscribe to Nihi Kids on YouTube.